advisors who proudly now serve with me on the New Temple Beth Israel Preservation Society Board, I want to extend a heartfelt thanks to each one of you for being here today as former members, as community friends, as friends of the interfaith community, town and state leaders. To each one of you, I say, welcome home. For all of us, I can tell you that this has been and will continue to be a labor of love. It was Dr. Martin Luther King who once wrote, "All labor that uplifts humanity has dignity and importance and should be undertaken with painstaking excellence." For me, this was simple. When you believe in a cause such as this one, when you go with your heart instead of depending only on logic to find answers to very difficult and complicated questions, when you have confidence and respect in the people you surround yourself with, any hurdle you have to overcome and any goal you want to achieve is within your grasp. That's what I personally believed when the opportunity to take back Temple Beth Israel became a reality, and is what I know was absolutely the right thing to do. It was not easy, but together a small group of like-minded individuals did something wonderful, and in part today, it's as much about remembering the past as it is about preparing for the future. And at Temple Beth Israel, we're well on our way through planning for future educational programs focusing on lessons of tolerance to share with local school children, making this building more accessible to the community at large, creating an endowment to ensure the future preservation of the synagogue. We've already begun to embark on making the synagogue both a state and federally recognized historical site. We plan to open the doors of the sanctuary to old and new friends with the annual Interfaith Thanksgiving service, along with other social and religious events. And as you already heard, there are plans to create an historical archive. In the end, it's going to take many hands, donations, and effort to fulfill our vision, but we will. As a dear friend of mine from the old congregation was once quoted as saying, "There's no question, the temple will always be here. I just have faith." I'm honored at this time to introduce to you the directors and advisors of the New Temple Beth Israel Preservation Society. As I have a number of people to call up, please hold your applause for the end. Our first of two vice presidents is Everett Goendo. Everett is delighted to be a part of the group committed to seeing Temple Beth Israel preserved, to continue the commitment of his parents Jacob and Ray Goendo, original founding members. He went through the Hebrew school here, he was a member of the youth groups in US-wide, and he had his bar mitzvah at Temple Beth Israel. He lives in Norwich with his wife Lisa and has two sons, Jacob and Michael, who also live in Norwich. Everett is a partner in the Nutmeg Companies, a general construction firm, also located in Norwich. Everett, on behalf of everyone here today, a special thanks to you, your company, and your family for the untold number of hours that you have given this past year helping to bring back this building to its former glory days. Our second vice president, Henry Muncham. Henry served as the last president of the old congregation here at Temple Beth Israel. Henry learned the religious services as a child and spent more than 25 years contributing to leading services. His dedication to the survival of Temple Beth Israel was a natural fit with the Preservation Society. Henry resides in Ellington, Connecticut with his wife Amy, and two children, Aaron, named after his dad, and his daughter Simba. Henry is a financial representative with the Northwestern Mutual Financial Network. Henry, we're finally seeing our dream realized. Thank you for your friendship and unending enthusiasm and support. Our treasurer is Rosa Goldblatt. Rosa Drobiars Goldblatt is the daughter of Henry and Sophie Drobiars, who were newly immigrated from a displaced persons camp in Germany when they arrived in America. Rosa, her brother Marty, and sisters Suzanne and Marilyn all were very active at Temple Beth Israel, following their parents' footsteps. Rosa is married to Michael, a CPA in Norwich, and they have 3 children, LJ, Matthew, and Rachel. Rosa works full-time with her husband. Rosa is also very involved at the Beth Jacob Synagogue in Norwich and also serves as the secretary of the Jewish Federation of Eastern Connecticut. Rosa is proud to serve as the new TBI Preservation Society treasurer. Rosa, you have the most challenging job on the board, and we truly appreciate your expertise and your enthusiasm. The Secretary of the new Preservation Board is Paula Rosenberg, Beth. Paula proudly serves as the Preservation Society's first recording secretary. Paula, Warren, and her brother Joel, that would be me, are the children of David and Shirley Rosenberg, who were active members of Beth Israel from its inception in 1950. Paula was the first baby to be named in this building. She and her husband Chris were married here. She served as president of the youth group in USY and later as the last Sisterhood Temple Beth Israel co-president with her good friend Judy Helfeld. Paula is a teacher of the deaf and an adjunct professor of American Sign Language. Paula, thank you for your unending energy and your unending support to help create the Preservation Society. Now to our directors, starting with Rochelle Shepard-Rubin. Rochelle is presently the Director of Compliance for Stores and Regional Campuses at UConn and the Executive Secretary for the University's Board of Trustees. Governor M. Jody Rell appointed Rochelle as her special counsel for ethics compliance for the executive branch from July 2005 through March 2006. Rochelle's resume in both state government and the private sector makes her the other half of our powerhouse of legal counsel on this board. We feel very fortunate that Rochelle Shepard-Rubin has dedicated herself to the preservation and future of Temple Beth Israel. We thank Rochelle for her service to the board. Faye Shepard. Faye is an Associate Vice President of Investments with Wells Fargo's Advisors Private Client Group. As a child of Holocaust survivors, Faye was born in a displaced persons camp in Germany following the war. She grew up in Plainfield with her family and was active in Temple Beth Israel. Faye also is very active in Holocaust programs in the New Haven area, and we also thank Faye for her service to the board. Martin Grobiart. Marty lives in Old Saybrook with his wife Elizabeth and has 3 children, Heather, Allison, and Jonathan. A graduate of the UConn School of Pharmacy in 1978, Marty owns Northeast Medical Products. Marty's bar mitzvah date was June 22nd, 1968, here at Temple Beth Israel. And following that, he became an active member in USY, serving as its president the following year. Marty stayed involved with Temple Beth Israel by helping lead services with his father Henry for several years until moving away from the area. Marty, you hold a very special place on this board, having had the experience of learning for years from your father, every aspect of the cultural, religious, and spiritual leadership. You learned from the best, and we can now all benefit from those lessons. We all look to you to help us never lose that part of what made this congregation so special so long ago. Naomi and Martin Weiner. Naomi and Marty moved to Brooklyn from the Boston area in 1988, and until the mid-1990s, they continued to travel back to their old congregation in Massachusetts. They became members of Temple Beth Israel when the membership was relatively small, but the history of this community intrigued them, and they realized that quality was more important than quantity. Naomi is a former school teacher and for many years worked with young adults as an advocate for children of parenting teams and continued counseling and running after-school programs when she moved to Connecticut. Marty spent his career as a manufacturer representative in sales and vice president of sales and plumbing supplies. We are delighted that both Marty and Naomi are on the new Preservation Society board. In their own words, Marty and Naomi have become enriched by the Temple Beth Israel experience, and they want to preserve the history of the building and its members to ensure its future. Vita Fetterman Goldstein. Vita grew up with the synagogue, went to Hebrew school, was married in the synagogue, lived and participated in Temple Beth Israel after they were married, and continues to relish the fondness of Temple Beth Israel. Vita and her husband Richard recently moved to Israel, but they stay in contact with the board on a regular basis. Elsie, please let Vita know how much we appreciate knowing that the Blumenthal family legacy is well represented by her father. Sophie Sudai. Sophie is another of our long-distance board members, and we are very grateful for her support and that of the entire Hodis family. Sophie grew up in the area and was a member of Temple Beth Israel until 1968, when she and her family moved to Florida. Sophie is married to her husband Shimon, who is from Israel. Sophie and Shimon